Mr. Albanese, Albo, congratulations on the victory. I was thrilled that you won the election. But if you can spare 5 minutes, there's something I'd like to discuss with you. With respect, how can you possibly approve more gas mining? Is it because you believe that it's okay if greenhouse gases keep going up for a while before they start to fall? It's very clear to scientists that every single extra molecule of greenhouse gases we emit is doing harm and pushing the environment towards a series of tipping points. The thing about tipping points is that you can't come back from them. This is already happening. Now, I know you're not a climate change denier, and you've probably seen this graph, but it's worth another look. It shows the relationship between temperature anomaly and carbon dioxide concentration over the last 800,000 years. As you can see, there have been natural rises and falls, but nothing in the past has even approached the current situation. The CO2 concentration hasn't been this high for 3 million years, and as you can see, the temperature has yet to catch up. How hot is it going to get? How bad is it going to be? When scientists say we don't know, they don't mean they don't know, just that there are many possible scenarios, and they're not a matter of chance. They depend on what we do and how the planet responds. It's not like economics where you really don't know. So let's talk about climate modelling. The IPCC has commissioned a series of best to worst case temperature rise scenarios. This slide shows two different systems, the RCPs and SSPs. They combine the data from a huge number of different modelling systems, and they look at it in terms of various courses of action we might take. The RCP graph shows the CO2 level, and the SSP graph shows the probable temperature rise. These are simplified and they don't show all of the fuzziness involved in modelling, but it gives an idea how different the outcomes will be if we work immediately on bringing CO2 levels down and reduce the amount that's already there. That's the blue line in the second graph, or if we don't. They also show that temperature rises are locked in for the next 2 decades. What we do now isn't going to change that. But what we do now will affect what happens after that. It's a kind of long-term thinking that humans are not particularly good at, and I know it's really hard in politics. But the science is all too clear. Coming back to the question of mining, I want to talk to you about another greenhouse gas, methane. Because of its molecular structure, methane can trap a lot more heat than carbon dioxide. Depending how you measure it, it's up to 85% more potent. It's also rising much faster than CO2 levels, 5 times as fast, in fact. It's risen 260% since pre-industrial times. People will tell you it's not a problem because it doesn't stay in the atmosphere for long. It breaks down over about 10 to 12 years, so it has a shorter term effect. But it's what happens in the short term that really matters now. When it breaks down, methane oxidizes to carbon dioxide and water vapor, which isn't great either, as they're both greenhouse gases and they trap heat. Of the nearly 4 million tonnes of methane that Australia produced in 2023, a massive 25% was from fossil fuel mining. Gas mining is absolutely the worst. There are fugitive emissions of methane that are really difficult to plug, but even without that, it's a fossil fuel that anybody in Australia who knows anything about science does not need and does not want. It's too late for Woodside, but this question will come up again. The last graph shows where current policies are leading. The temperature rise is a result of all greenhouse gas emissions, but the blue section is methane. You can see what a difference it would make if we didn't release it. In the words of some leading scientists, methane mitigation starting immediately has the potential to avoid substantial levels of additional warming by mid-century. And a tonne of CH4 avoided today has the same benefit to the climate as avoiding more than 80 tonnes of CO2. So to sum up, it's not correct to say that it's okay if greenhouse gas emissions keep going up for a while before they start to fall. Here's why. So if you have any questions or if there's anything I can provide you with to help, contact me at the University of Tasmania on this address. And good luck. The eyes of our grandchildren are on you.